What's going on, YouTube? We are back after I haven't done a video for probably 5 or 6 days because I have been addicted to playing Diablo 4. Been streaming it a little bit, but I haven't done any content on it because I didn't think I had anything really worth sharing, and I don't want to just put out content for the sake of putting out content unless I have something that will help people or I think is really cool. Well, today is that day. Now, that was some footage from my Blizzard, Ice Nova, and Ice Shards explosion build. This, I've tried pretty much everything because the skill tree is so easy to refund that you really can just refund everything or just do it one by one, pump points and other stuff, take points out of others, just to basically try everything. And that's pretty much what I've been doing the last 4 days, is playing around until I found a build that is fun to play. Now, if you look at a lot of Sorceress builds out there, a lot of them that are really strong, even after it was nerfed, is Arclash, okay? And yes, I get the appeal of it. You attack really fast, you keep people perma-stunned. It's kind of cool for that, but it feels, I don't know, I feel like why don't you just play, you know, a werewolf druid or a rogue if you wanted that close combat kind of fast attack. It just didn't feel very sourcey to me, didn't feel very magical, so I played with a bunch of shit, and so far I have found the build that I think I am going to stick with for a while. Now, a couple quick disclaimers before I get into it. There probably are videos, other videos on this build. I don't know. I haven't looked. Again, so easy to respec. This is one of the first ARPGs where one of the first things wasn't, oh, I'll see if anyone's found something super overpowered that I can just kind of get an idea from and use it. It's so easy to respec. I've just tried everything. And I also, you know, tried Arclash and even followed some tips that are people using. Again, that wasn't the build for me. That was about the closest I've come to following a guide, is seeing if I could mimic the Arclash thing, because I was seeing so many people using Arclash that I was like, I don't really get the appeal. And then even when I followed a build guide and it was pretty strong, I was like, still don't really get it. So I spec'd out of it. So there may be other builds and guide videos on something like this. I have no idea. And secondly, I am not some Diablo professor. I am not incredibly knowledgeable on Diablo, even though I play a ton of Diablo, played a ton of 2, played a ton of 3. I am not, there are things in here you are probably going to see, and I'm sure I will see in the comments. They're like, you shouldn't do it this way, you should do it this way. And I applaud that, and I welcome that. If you see something I did dumb, because I'm sure there will be some stuff, be sure to mention it in the comments, in a nice way, don't be a dick. But again, I didn't know whether to call this a build or a framework. It feels incredibly good right now, and I'm level 60. You don't need to be level 60 to start this. To do this, it's just you get power spikes as you go, like any good RPG does. So, as you saw in the little preview video I showed the other minute, we are using mostly 2 clear packs Ice Nova. And you're thinking, well, Ice Nova's defensive spell, it just freezes everyone. How does that clear like that, clear mobs? And that is because of the enhancement slot. Now, you are going to need the enhancement slot. You get 2 of them, and to unlock the first one at level 15, there will be a quest for the Sorceress called the Legacy of the Magi. You go to it, it is down, I believe, in this area, or this, yeah, I think it's down here, one of these lower areas. And what you will do, you go in the dungeon and you will look for the codex. Now, just finishing the dungeon is enough. You have to run around until you actually find the codex, and it will pop up on your map. You'll see it as soon as you get the codex. If you don't feel like finishing the dungeon, you can leave. And then you go talk to the guy, you light some elemental urns, and you unlock this slot. And that is going to give you the ability to put ice shards in there. Now, when you put the Ice Shards spell, what you will do, you will drag it into one of the enhancement slots. It will give you Ice Shards automatically conjure and fly towards frozen enemies. So when you use Ice Nova, it's immediately going to start shooting ice shards at everything that is frozen. That is how that works and clears. Now for the other enhancement slot, I have Fireball in there. I actually do not know. This could end up being a your preference slot. This is when you kill an enemy, they explode in Fireball for 50% of its damage. I'm just trying to get as much clear and explosions as I can. It just feels so cool and it feels good. There are other things you can play around because we use Blizzard. You could put Blizzard in there and it appears around you for 6 seconds every 15 seconds, and it's pretty cool. It doesn't usually come in handy. I don't like the fact that it's something that you know when it's going to trigger unless you are looking at the timer or have some kind of internal countdown in your head knowing when it's going to come up. But it is pretty cool. But there are other things you can do. You know, Evade is replaced with a short-range teleport on a 16-second cooldown. That's kind of cool too. Kind of have 2 teleports in a way. You could mess around with this slot. Now for the skill tree, I'm going to go over it. But again, you do not need to be level 60 to start doing this. I don't know the minimum level. It's around when you get Frost Nova, which is... I don't know, what would Frost Nova be? Am I blind? Oh, it's down here. So it is probably 18-ish. You can start doing this for clear. And then when you get Blizzard at around, 24, 30-ish, it helps with the downtime for doing a lot of damage. But I'm going to show you my tree at level 60. So obviously, I go into Frostbolt. It has a chance to explode on hitting chilled enemies. Chance increased to 100% against frozen enemies. We're going to be freezing a lot of enemies. So that helps. But also, I get the Frostbolt generates 4 mana while hitting chilled or frozen enemies. That it just seems that when you're using Blizzard and while your Ice Nova has kind of some downtime, and especially with how fast you go through mana with something like Ice Shards, it is a quality of life thing that I really enjoy. So I put 5 points into that. Could probably get away with just 1 point into it if you wanted to, or a couple points into it without doing these if it feels comfortable without the mana regeneration. Next, I put 5 into Fireball because of the enhancement slot that I just went over about it exploding enemies with 50% of the damage. I also pump Ice Shards, and you'll see rank 7 out of 5. We'll talk about that on the gear in a minute because the more strong those Ice Shards are, the more damage you're doing when you're clearing. We do 40% chance to ricochet to another enemy. Always helpful. And when we have a barrier active, cast Ice Shards treat enemies as if they were frozen. Now, they're mostly going to be shooting at frozen enemies when you're clearing stuff, but this can help against bosses tremendously. Next, we go down here. I take a couple points into Ice Armor. Now I get 2 points from one of my items that you will see in a minute. Ice Armor is just an amazing defensive skill. Okay. Then we go to while Ice Armor is active, your mana regeneration is increased by 29%. That's always good. And also, enemies that hit you have 15% chance to become frozen for 30 seconds. When they get frozen, Ice Shards will fire at them and presumably kill them. Most people, as you can see in the video, even elites, go down incredibly quick. So I highly suggest taking Ice Armor for your defensive skill. 5 points into Frost Nova. That's a no-brainer. It gets the cooldown low. And then enemy frozen killed by Frost Nova have its cooldown reduced by 1 second up to 4 seconds. This makes it so when you kill a big pack of enemies, it is only a 14-second cooldown. That is not a lot for such a clearing move like that. So what I usually do is I will Frost Nova a pack, destroy it, run up to the next pack, lay a Blizzard, lay a couple Hydras, which we're going to go over next. That clears it. By the time I'm at the next pack, the Frost Nova is down off cooldown. I just clear everything again. It's kind of that 1-2 punch. You can just go back and forth. It works incredibly well, and it is incredibly fast and effective at clearing. Not to mention, it's a ton of fun to see everything explode on the screen. Now, as far as the extra skills from the Frost Nova, I take makes them vulnerable for 6 seconds so you can do more damage to them. If you're If the reason I don't take the Frost Nova generates 4 mana per hit is because, one, I have some good mana regeneration from my Frost Bolt passive tree, but also I usually lead with this, especially on packs, obviously, because it's going to kill them. So I am already pretty much at full mana as is, so it doesn't really help me. And also, when you are launching Ice Shards from the being frozen, status, they don't cost any mana, so it doesn't matter, okay? You literally can use 0 mana. That's kind of why alternating between Blizzard and packs and Hydra, and then using the Frost Nova is so great, because when you clear a huge pack with this, it costs you no mana. Next we go Hydra, and I have 7 into this because an item gives me +2. Of course, broken record, we will go over that in a second. I'll show you some gear. While healthy, your cast of Hydra gain 1 additional head. That is great because it is usually 3 heads. A 4-headed Hydra is obviously a 25% damage increase, 1 extra head firing, and then burn base damage over 6 seconds. It's just more damage. And this one could be better. I haven't tested it that much. This has pretty much been standard in everything I've tried. I think Hydras are great. They do a ton of sustained damage. They are just really strong. Highly suggest them. Now, some of the side passives that I passed over, I take Glass Cannon for more damage, obvious reasons. I want more damage. If you are dying too much from the 9% more damage, you can get rid of this. It's not that big a deal, but this game, I feel, is not too difficult. I am not playing on hardcore, so dying isn't even that big of a deal. So I go Glass Cannon. Your lucky hit chance is increased by 15%. That's just always good to have for obvious reasons. Then when you get Blizzard, I get 2 points from an item. Blizzard deals increased damage for those enemies. When cast above 50% mana, duration is increased. This is great for bosses. The longer it stays up, the more damage it does. It's just really good. This could also be good because for bosses, we will be using Ice Shards to burn them down. Blizzard, Hydra, and Ice Shards. You'll be putting down your Hydras, keeping them up constantly, and casting Ice Shards or Blizzard whenever it is up. So having a 10% less mana on your core skills, aka Ice Shards, could also help. I haven't tested it too much. I like Blizzard staying up for longer. That's kind of a quality of life thing, so I suggest that. We come down here, take some rings, some Permafrost, Hoarfrost, Icy Touch. You can put some in Frigid Freeze if you need some more mana, sustainability. My build feels good right now. Not a huge deal, so I don't have that. And then I put it in Shatter, because obviously when people are dying, when they are frozen, and there's a lot of them, if there's anyone left, they do more damage and they blow up. Alright, for Paragon, for the first tree, I take this route, getting intelligence. Then I take a left, I put in a glyph socket. I'm probably going to replace this. I put this in whenever, just whatever I had at the time. I didn't have very many good ones. Now I have more. I'll have to go look, but, you're going to have to decide that for yourself. Went to the left to get more damage up here. And then when you get to the board attachment gate, you get to pick a attachment board. There is 7 of them, I believe. 2 of them are cold. I went the one that for the legendary noted as Icefall. Now you see I haven't even gotten there yet. I think it's around 64. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. About 63. It looks like I will be able to hit this probably around like 62.5 to 63. Okay, but that's the board that I picked. I just went up the right side, then the left side, then went all the way left, taking the damage instead of going for things like life. Again, because it's softcore, and I have not died much in this game. It's actually relatively easy, especially if you've played some ARPGs. So I will go this way, and then I will go down, and I will get this node, because that killing a frozen enemy grants you a barrier. Seems incredibly strong, especially for 5 seconds. So I cannot wait to get that. Now, for items, this is not ideal. I am going to tell you that right now. There are improvements I can make. But the things you need to look out for is on gloves. You can get +2 ranks of Ice Shards. You can also get on either a weapon, which I don't suggest, but on gloves at least, or armors, you can have 1 additional Hydra active. Very, very good. Very, very strong. Now, on my pants, I have 2 ranks of Blizzard. Okay? Also very important. Aim for that. Now, obviously, you want the other stats to be as good as possible. These pants are not that great, even though I got a great life roll. I don't use Ball of Lightning. That should be replaced. The 7% damage reduction from enemies that are burning is all well and good, but again, I'm not dying that much. I'm not having problems staying alive, so that ideally would be helpful if it was replaced with more damage. Now on my helm, I have +2 ranks of Hydra. That's the other really important one. You can get that on a helm. I believe you can get that possibly on pants and gloves, but I'm not sure. Again, I have not researched that too much, what can roll and what. But I think it can only roll on a helm now that I'm thinking about it. So try and get +2 Hydra on this. Now for the weapon, you can, if you extract a legendary power that has this, you can imprint this on another staff, which is what I did. But when you first find it, the imprinted mod or the unique mod, when you cast Blizzard, it will periodically spawn exploding ice spikes that deal 700 damage. That's what I have on this. Now, you can get this on a one-handed weapon also. It does about half damage. Your ice spikes deal 25% increased damage to frozen enemies, and it lowers the damage also. So I like having it on a staff, and I just prefer staffs a little bit more. It's a little bit easier to track the numbers. Don't have to do the math in your head when you're doing two, but I'm sure both have their benefits. Now, again, this isn't even great because the 37% to distant enemies, I stay pretty close to the enemies. If that was something like close enemies, that would benefit me greatly. But do not sleep on this, because the ice spikes that go out and spawn while you have a blizzard are common. This isn't like every 2 seconds an ice spike explosion. They are going off very often. This is a very big power spike, okay? So I highly suggest that. Now for the rings, nothing special. I have skills deal 10% increased damage based on your available primary resource. Nothing crazy. Explosions from the Shatter Key passive deal increased damage. That's a pretty good one. These two might end up getting replaced. I haven't done too much research. I haven't found too many unique items that I have looked at or held on to that I might look back on now and think, oh, that is a lot better for this build. But, you know, I'll probably do an update on this build when I hit 70, get 70 to 80, see how it feels in the hardest difficulty. But right now, it is just melting stuff. And this, you deal 45% more damage to stunned or frozen enemies. Also incredibly important. Also highly suggest putting diamonds in your jewelry for the resistances. It helps a lot. Seems to be pretty best in slot to get your resistance as high as possible. So, you know, you won't have problems staying alive. Now for normal enemies, it's very simple rotation. You know, for regular enemies, you just go up Ice Nova, they will all die. Drop down a couple Hydras that'll kill the stragglers or anything that may have just been out of the range of the Ice Nova that may have died. Now, if, you know, you didn't hit a champion or something like that, you don't think the Hydras are going to kill them. They probably will, especially if you have the +2 in the ranks of Hydra, but just in case, you could always drop a Blizzard down around him and keep going. If a unique or an item you want to pick up drops, you can always walk back, but I think it's better just to keep moving and not kind of hark on it. And then while your Ice Nova is down, you can just continue to use Hydra and Blizzard stuff as you go by until this comes back off cooldown, blow it up, kind of alternate, you know, pretty simple. You start running out of mana, you can use Blizzard and then Frostbolt things to get mana back. Very useful. Now when you find elites, what you're going to do is you're going to lead with Hydra. Then you're going to proc your ice armor. Then if you can, I try and get these guys close together just so they take some damage, and then I can burn them down with Ice Shards. Ice Shards does a ton of damage. Okay. Now, a smart thing to do would have been to put my Hydras back up. You should always try, make sure you have your 2 Hydras up. It's sustained damage. They have better accuracy than you, and that's just what you want to do. Now, I am not going to run all the way to the boss at your boss fight because I've rambled on for way too long at this point about this build. I probably made it sound more difficult than it really is, and more in depth than it really is. It's very easy. New players, all players can easily get this very strong, considering I didn't follow a guide and I haven't even really been trying to theory craft or do any of the fancy stuff to make this work. But with a boss, it's the same thing. You're going to want to keep your Hydras up constantly. Use Ice Armor whenever you can. This time you will save your Frost Nova for adds or things they spawn to clear them very quickly. And then either burn him down with more Blizzards if there is a lot of adds around. If it is just the boss or 1 or 2 people, I would use Ice Shards. It does a ton of damage with that. All right, so that is it, everyone. Any questions you can ask in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe if you like the Diablo 4 content. And make sure you join the Twitch. It's in the description. I stream on there a lot. I also stream on YouTube, but I prefer Twitch, and that is where we all hang out. We have a clan. Not that many people yet, but some people. If you get there on Twitch, say what's up. You say, hey, I want some people to play with, some nice, cool people. Let me know, and I will send you an invite, or one of the officers will send you an invite, so we can all just hang out and play together. And there are people from all around the world too, not just the U.S. where I am from. Okay, so make sure you get on that. But that's gonna do it, guys. In the comments, let me know if I missed anything. I know a couple people are going to tell me that there's also a weapon passive for ice shards that might work better. I have not tested that yet, and the blizzard passive works so incredibly well. It does a ton of damage that I'm just liking it too much that I honestly don't want to split test it because I don't want to lose this. But stuff like that, please let me know in the comments, or just let me know what build you're playing that you are really enjoying. I want to hear about it. Okay, and I will probably put out some more D4 content, some more PoE content this week. So yeah, let me know, guys, and until next time, we'll catch you later.